Hello, my name is Maddie Wensley, and I am a doctoral student at Kansas State University. Today, I will be discussing a project in which we summarize different pre-weaning strategies that can be used to minimize nutrient intake disruption and improve feed intake in the immediate post-weaning period. Appreciation is expressed to Denny McKilligan and TechMix Incorporated for their technical and financial support. This review is part of the Improving Pig Survivability Project, a 5-year multidisciplinary project aimed at reducing mortality in the U.S. swine industry. You can learn more about the Improving Pig Survivability Project at www.piglivability.org. Weaning is a crucial phase of swine production marked by a multitude of biological and environmental stressors, which have a significant impact on immediate post-weaning behavior and feed intake. Low feed consumption during the first 3 days after weaning results in what is commonly known as a post-weaning growth check. While most pigs recover from this initial reduction in body weight loss, the events surrounding weaning are multifactorial and often can lead to increased morbidity and mortality. Pre-weaning strategies to increase feed intake after weaning can be broken into 3 primary categories, including maternal nutrition, such as L-glutamine or fatty acid supplementation, the successful use of branched-chain amino acids, and the implementation of perinatal flavor learning. Secondly, management strategies such as cross-fostering, split suckling, intermittent suckling, piglet socialization, and wean age. And then lastly, piglet nutrient intake strategies such as topsoil exposure, creep feeding, water consumption, and liquid milk replacer. Within these categories, let's first take a look at what strategies we know help reduce nutrient intake disruption after weaning. While there is limited research on the effects of cross-fostering and split suckling immediately after weaning, it is understood that providing greater opportunities for piglets to nurse prior to weaning should improve nutrient intake and weaning body weights, therefore creating a more robust pig for the post-weaning period. Socializing pigs prior to weaning is another strategy meant to improve social skills and encourage play behavior, therefore minimizing mixing stress and aggression-related injury after weaning. This video shows an example of a modern mixing system developed by Swartz Farms Incorporated, in that farrowing stall dividers between and in front of sows are pulled to allow pigs to mix as early as 48 hours of age. Additionally, it is well established that weaning older, more developmentally mature pigs helps prevent many of the adverse effects associated with stress around the time of weaning. In a study conducted by Facine and others in 2020, as wean age increased from 19 to 28 days of age, during the first week after weaning, the percent of pigs that lost weight decreased. Similarly, as wean age increased up to 28 days of age, the percent of pigs involved in belly nosing behavior also decreased. Taking these pigs all the way out to market, regardless if pigs were marketed on a fixed day, fixed age, or fixed weight basis, the weight sold per pig wean increased with increasing wean age, which is a direct reflection of nursery removal rates. It is also well understood that providing creep feed to piglets during lactation encourages exploratory behavior and familiarizes pigs with solid feed before weaning. However, the true value of creep feed is found in the development of eaters. Bruinix and others in 2002 observed that pigs designated as eaters had improved feed intake and average daily gain in the immediate post-weaning period, compared to non-eaters and pigs that did not receive creep feed. Creep feeder design also plays an important role in maximizing the proportion of eaters, as well as managing creep feed wastage. Litters of pigs provided creep feed in a rotary feeder with hopper had reduced feed disappearance and increased number of eaters compared to those provided creep in a pan feeder or rotary feeder without hopper. In a more recent study, Middlecoop and others showed that adding a play element to creep feeders had additional benefits. Play feeders had no effect on creep feed intake. However, play feeders did seem to ease the weaning transition as reflected in improved post-weaning feed intake and growth. This implies that providing toys at the creep feeder can be considered as an easy, applicable enrichment and feeding strategy to reduce weaning stress and improve the health, welfare, and productivity of pigs around weaning. Research consistently shows that young pigs prefer large diameter pellets. Therefore, the last piece of creep feeding is pellet size. Vandebrandt and others in 2014 fed either a 2 millimeter or 12 millimeter diameter pellet during lactation and after weaning, and then observed post-weaning performance. Regardless of post-weaning pellet size, creep feeding large diameter pellets during lactation resulted in increased feed intake and body weight gain after weaning, which may be attributed to greater pellet consumption in early lactation. Another strategy we know improves piglet nutrient intake is milk supplementation. Research shows that offering milk replacer provides an additional source of nutrients that helps increase weaning weights and may also help to reduce pre-weaning mortality, particularly in the light pig population. Now that we've talked about what we know, there are still several pre-weaning strategies that require further investigation. Further exploration of maternal nutrition strategies, particularly fetal imprinting, is needed to better understand the implications of perinatal learning. Other areas of future research include combining environmental enrichment with feeding or socialization strategies. Lastly, continued research to better understand the influence of bacterial exposure on the gut, microbial population, immune status, and subsequent productivity remains of utmost importance. In summary, we know that wean age, early socialization, creep feed, and milk supplementation influence post-weaning behavior and feed intake. However, at the end of the day, maintaining continuity of nutrient intake after weaning begins with the people. Having the right people in the barn to care for pigs around the time of weaning is essential. In our next video, we will continue our discussion on maintaining continuity of nutrient intake after weaning, looking at the different post-weaning strategies. Thanks for watching.